then they can overturn an incorrect call.
I mean, I was watching Luke Matthews, just his actions after the fumble, you can just tell he definitely gave up the ball and he was upset about it.
As this is taken by Connor Essig to the left side, and it looks like we have a Tennessee Heat player down. And an injury timeout. Trying to tell which player it is. It looks like it might be Jake Wogan. Looks like he's down for the Tennessee Heat, and we will step aside for an injury timeout. Graham Russell was actually the injured Tennessee Heat player down. He's being tended to the medical staff. Sure, Alex might check for a injury update, and we'll get that as soon as we have it to you. So look at him on the sideline. From the 19-yard line on the recovery, it's a toss to the left side. Cam Humans, there is a flag down. Cam Humans, saw he slipped at the end there trying with the tackle. You see the rain's already starting to have an effect here, and we got a flag in the backfield.
Illegal formation, more than 4 people in the backfield at the time of the snap, or 3 people. Start down.
So an illegal formation on that. Moves it back as a benefit for the Tennessee Heat because that rush to the left side is really hard to stop Cam Humans. And motion there for who got first. It's the false start.
Offside, false start. Number 28 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, third down.
Nate almost didn't know who it was on there, too.
Smart play by the defensive line to just tap the guy. I mean, usually when you do that, that just gives the rest even meaning. Like, oh, yeah, that's definitely a false start.
Just over 9 minutes left to go in the first half as the PAC Panthers from their own 11-yard line after these sets of penalties. It's a scramble in the backfield for Jance Lamb, and as he does so well, carrying the ball himself, Wyatt Sutton forces the tackle. All he had to beat was Wyatt Sutton to get open grass there, but still a decent gain there.
And it's like I said earlier, if there's no one open, just tuck that ball in and run like he usually does. And he gained just enough yards to get where he needs to be back.
Not enough to get the first down, and brings up a 4th down and 6. PAC Panthers set to punt it away. Wyatt Sutton deep back to receive. And just allow it to bounce out of bounds at the 48-yard line. The Tennessee Heat offense will get back to work. Over the season, the Tennessee Heat have certainly scored a lot of points. You have, looks like essentially a minimum of all their games. The lowest they've ever scored was 8. In any of their matchups, including their 11-man contest, the rest of them around the 20-12 range. So keeping on trend there as a carry to the left side by Matthews will get a gain of about 6 yards.
Luke Matthews is just reading the ends. If the ends are clashing in, he's holding that ball and he's taking it himself. Smart read by the quarterback.
It's a big reason why Luke Matthews has put up so many stats on both sides of the ball, and another reason why he was voted all-conference quarterback for the SEC. High snap, Matthews keeps it in possession, and he can't be brought down in the backfield. Ethan Lehman tried to get the tackle, and several other defenders sort of bailed him out. Still a loss of about 2 for the third down.
It looked like kind of miscommunication between, I believe, Sutton and Matthews as they both kind of come in for that ball.
For the PAC Panthers on the scoring side, they only took 1 loss at the beginning of the year to the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors, but they only lost by 4. And the rest of their matchups, it's been a high-scoring season for the PAC Panthers and the opponents they've faced. Might be in store for that heading into the rest of the contest. 3rd and 6. Looking for the option toss right side and trying to go back for the ball. It's incomplete. Pass intended for Danilitis. Tried to go back for the ball and clean coverage by Essig.
Again, you gotta lead your wide receiver out there. You can't just have him come back. He needs to go and push forward.
.6:45 left to go in the second quarter of this first semifinal for the NHSA National Tournament for high school 8-man football. The last several years, the 8-man tournament has been held at Pete Edwards Field. The city said they would hold no more contests there, as this is a fake punt. They're reversing it back. A little bit of trickery. And how about a reversal to the right side on this trickery? Doesn't work out for him, and that was a rush up the right side by Levi Ashburn. You can already see he's wincing in pain. Looked like he went straight with his helmet down to looked like on the tackle. Nothing malicious on that. It looked like the angle, his helmet slammed right down to the ground. Medical staff immediately rushing over to him for both sides. And this will be a time for us to step aside as they take care to Levi Ashburn. Levi Ashburn carried off by the medical staff for the Tennessee Heat. He's going to be looked at on the sideline. Another update we'll see if we can get from, see about another hit we can get from Alex Chasen later on. And carry off to the right side. This is for the PAC Panthers. Connor Essig getting some space to the outside, down to the 35-yard line, as Essig does so well with the almost 300 yards he's carried anytime he's rushed the ball throughout the season.
You can tell he might be a small guy, but he's a hard runner. He'll hit you right where you need to be just to get out of his way.
Brings it inside of the 40-yard line in Heat territory, as we have not had a score since the PAC Panthers capitalized on their first fumble recovery. Two-point conversion is the difference between the teams as PAC Panthers scramble up the middle. Chance Lamb once again for the carry and moves it up for a 2nd and 5. Looking for the option, a scramble. Lamb is just opting, threw it in the area of one of the receivers, and you saw some of the defensive line for the Heat calling for an intentional grounding, but there was a receiver in the area.
And I almost want to say he was completely out of the pocket enough to just get out.
And you can see Levi Ashburn being looked at by the medical staff. Again, we'll see if we can get an update for that at halftime. Being stretched out on the sideline, so it looked more, it actually looked like he's working on his knee. Again, no speculation on that, just hoping that the star sophomore has been incredible for the Heat on this season. Everything is okay for him and a chance for him to come back, if not today, on whichever contest Heat end up in on Monday. Flag in the backfield, looks like a delay. Finally, he clicked his clicked back his mute switch on there, but that's some of the funny moments you don't hear exchanged on there, and he's absolutely right. There's a play clock right there. Yes, it's not as clear and obvious as the scoreboard over there, but there's still a play clock for you to see what's going on.
And for you as a quarterback, you have to also have a time clock in your head. I mean, you can't really rely on everything else.
Lamb is going to keep it himself. Left side, trying to weave past the second tackle. That's Nate Williams who helped to bring him down. Gain of 4. Actually give them a little bit more and a gain of 6, but not enough for moving the chains. It's 4th down.
And I'll give it to Lamb. He's being a smart quarterback, just able to, when he's getting rushed, he's just taking it, tucking it in, and go. And that's what Tennessee Heat has to be aware of, too. They're going to have to use the quarterback spy here soon.
A stop that the Tennessee Heat would love to have here on the 4th and 5. And a little bit of movement. They're going to call encroachment. I think that'll move the chains.
Encroachment, defense, 5-yard penalty.
Depends on where they spot it. It's the big question. To wait for a signal from the
First down.
It is ruled a first down by Nate Starr. They'll move the chains. An unfortunate mistake by the Heat secondary.
And they have got to get it together. They've already got 2 turnovers and a couple of penalties that have hurt them. They're going to have to figure it out at halftime.
Just over 3 minutes left in the first half as Humans up the middle get down to the 24. And you think about the recent history of both of these teams in the national tournament. The Tennessee Heat have essentially gone for the last several years straight, either losing in the semifinal to Evangel or facing off against another freight train in a sense. The Tennessee Heat losing to Ezekiel Academy a couple of years ago in the tournament. The PAC Panthers hitting another freight train with the other teams they faced down with a gain of about 1 or 2 yards. So you have to think there was at least more motivation on both sides of the ball here in that we win, we're in the national championship instead of facing off against the continually defending national champions.
And this is quite an even team to them. So honestly, if you can just get these penalties and these turnovers get together, you could come back and win this game easily, but you just got to play right.
And part of the conversations we've had with the director of the NHSA, Hank St. Dennis, he's mentioned that they don't want matchups of teams, as this toss up and over, incomplete, intended for Barkley. Would have been a touchdown had he pulled it in. And as I was mentioning, with Hank St. Dennis, we've talked to him about they try to mix both who are the best teams, what are the best matchups going to be, and we don't want teams that have faced off against each other in the past, in a sense, because the Heat and Evangel have played in the regular season a couple times over the years, of course, down here in Florida. And certainly the matchups have worked out in that regard, and we'll see how the other semifinal plays out at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Lamb looking for the end zone, trying to find it over through Essig.
Just a little too much mustard on that hot dog, man. My man just
and stops the clock at 1:46. And with that, the Tennessee Heat will get the ball to start off, and the Heat got the ball to start the first half, so the PAC will receive it heading at the start of the second. So this drive important for the Heat. Speed that he normally has, trying to power through. He's getting past the 5, and you can bet Coach Scott will call a timeout on this, but that was the explosive play the Heat offense needed.
And that's exactly the call that you want, that you need. No one ever expects a screen after a run play, and that's what you get when you call that type of play right there.
And time will, of course, be called here.
Timeout Panthers. Their second charge timeout of the half.
But that's interesting with the PAC Panthers calling it, maybe to save clock in case the Heat score so they could potentially get an explosive play, but that's a break to the Tennessee Heat.
Yeah, it's like you said, PAC Panthers, if they let them score, that's enough time for them to get back on the field and get some points right back at them. As long as they can stop them here and maybe get a 2-point conversion as well.
58.7 left to go on the game clock for the first half. See both teams talking it over. And one of the albatrosses that the Tennessee Heat have usually had, especially in big stage games like this, is there are times where they'll go up by scores or two, or they'll be within a touchdown or two, but the finishing factor has really been a challenge. I remember a couple of years ago when the Tennessee Heat came down to the Evangel Lightning, and that was their only loss in the regular season. And Coach Scott told us afterwards, we just got completely beat. There was a lot of correctable mistakes that could have been made, and that certainly seemed to be the same case for their matchup against the Freedom Cowboys last year in the SEAC championship.
And if that's the case, all those mistakes that you made back then, you're going to just have to keep integrating to those kids, hey, these mistakes that we made last year, let's not make them again this year, because this is the reason why we've lost these games and real close to cutting it.
58.7. A first and goal on the 6. And Wyatt Sutton will keep it himself, trying to find the space, and he'll be smothered by the PAC Panthers defense. And we got a whistle blown. And they're going to wind the clock, or time called. Looks like they're going to send out Jeremiah Curtis, all-conference offensive lineman for 2 years in a row for the Southeastern Extreme Conference. Looks like he had a potential injury, so they send him out there and run the clock. Second and goal from the 6. No gain there for Sutton with motion on the play. The Heat trying to capitalize on this. Sutton again trying to find some space in the middle. He's not going to get there. Great second effort to push through to about the 4-yard line. Coach Scott calls a second timeout.
Timeout Tennessee. Timeout Tennessee Heat. That's their second charge timeout.
Second charge timeout of the half for the Heat as they try to think it over. One left apiece for each of them. And It's also a benefit for the Heat offense here in running down some of the clock, and certainly Wyatt Sutton can push it into the goal line, which he's done before. But running down the clock and preventing any chance for the PAC Panthers to take it back, because we've seen on their first offensive play of the game, they scored a touchdown. So it's very possible they only may even need just 1 second on the clock to get something done.
Yeah, because all you need, because obviously the Tennessee Heat's not really prepared for the passing play when it comes to PAC. I mean, most of us are used to them running the ball, but they can sneakily throw a nice little play action and throw that ball up in the air, as they proved from before.
This is 25.2, a 3rd and goal. Both teams have 1 timeout left. Certainly if it doesn't work out, the Heat can stop the clock again, and not what they needed here, a false start.
False start, number 4, Tennessee Heat. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
That's Eli Whitaker, the senior, jumping there. And you expect those kind of mistakes to happen early on in the season when you're working things out. Not something the Heat needed.
Especially not from your senior. You expect your senior to definitely have this down, enable not to cause you any penalties. That's a bad penalty, and they're going to have to do some work after that.
Certainly benefits them with the clock being stopped. 25.2. Sutton in the backfield with Matthews. Motion from Danilitis, and they'll fake the lob. Matthews will try to keep it and not going to get anywhere, and that's going to stop him on a 4th and goal, and got 1 timeout left. They're just going to let the clock run down. Looks like Coach Scott is waiting for the clock to run down so he can call time. Final 5 seconds, and there's the timeout. 3 seconds left. They'll run off 1 play.
Timeout, Tennessee Heat. That is their 3rd and final timeout. This will be a 30-second charge timeout.
Now, you think about if the Heat had capitalized, if Sutton had gotten into the end zone, I think it left about 45, 50 seconds left on the clock in the first quarter. If they had given it back to the PAC Panthers with, at the time, they had 2 timeouts, they could have worked with that. So good clock management here by Coach Scott. Certainly you want to get the ball into the end zone sooner than later, but good clock management by the Heat.
And it's almost like he planned it, Scott on. And then now he has plenty of time just to either throw the ball or rush it in just a tad bit more. But that defensive line, they've been stout when it's running play.
They have to try and be stout to make a defensive stand here on the 9-yard line.
This is big. Let's see if they can do it. It's all up to the defensive line. Can you win in the trenches?
I was waiting for when that would be mentioned by you, Brendan. Fourth and goal on the 9-yard line, and they're going to kick it. They're going to put their trust in Isaac Orbkey, try and get the field goal, and as time expires, it's good. And the Tennessee Heat have the lead. Orbkey makes it 15-14. What a way to end the first half.
That is the end of the first half.
Threw us all for a loop. We thought they were going to run one more offensive play. Nope, they brought out a kicker.
They brought out a kicker. They're going to, and one of the new innovations we have for this year, we will talk to Coach Ryan Scott, standing by with Alex Jason.
It's a moral victory. I mean, we wanted to always go into the half with the lead. So, 2 points behind. So very, very glad the boys were fighting hard, and just need to go and play a better second half than we did first. Not as physical as we want to be, but if we play physical, we can clearly score. We can clearly stop it. So it's just going to come down to who wants the most to get there on Monday. So we're hoping these guys are going to satisfy them. That's our goal for second half.
Then real quick, any update on
Yeah, Levi is got hit on the knee, so he's probably done for the day. Just hoping maybe he'll be okay by Monday. But yeah, he took a good little hit on the knee, and so I don't think we'll have him in the second half. But the boys are going to step up, next man up, as we say, and be good to see what the next guy can do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
An unfortunate loss for the Tennessee Heat with Levi Ashburn being done for the day with a knee injury. We appreciate Coach Scott taking the time. And halftime, about 20 minutes it looks like on the clock in between games, and we'll hear from Coach Humans heading into the second half. Stick around with us here in Vernon, Florida for the 2023 NHSA National Championship semifinals.